Hey! Yo, everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review. And I'm sorry I'm a little late on this review, but I've kind of been busy playing a little Nintendo Wii U. Anyways, with that said, today is the third week of the month, and that means it's one of the larger weeks for comics for me. Basically, it's going to be all DC with one Marvel thrown in there, so might as well get things started. And we start where we always start, with a little bit of Batman in our life. And we're going to start things off with Nightwing, issue number 14. So this is continuing the Lady Shiva two-issue story. And basically, Lady Shiva has been hired to do some hits in Gotham. Who is she hired to kill is, well, I'm going to leave that up for you guys to learn. But of course, she has an interest in Nightwing because she sees great potential in Nightwing. She sees a little of herself in him. The fact that he can do what he does with such ease. He could quite possibly become better than her. So she decides to once again test Nightwing. Now, this is all stemming out of the Nightwing issue number 0, where we get to see the origin of Dick Grayson as Robin, and Lady Shiva is part of that. And basically, the two go against each other, toe-to-toe, Nightwing versus Lady Shiva. And the question is this: will Lady Shiva be able to get a hit out in Gotham with Nightwing on the prowl, or will Nightwing surprise her and maybe get a hit on her? You're just going to have to wait and see. So let's get into the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. Good. I like the fact that they're using Lady Shiva, and I think using her with Nightwing, if we're not using her with Batman or with Question or Richard Dragon or, along those lines, it's good that they're using her with Nightwing, because I think there's actually an interesting story here. The fact that Lady Shiva sees potential in Nightwing, she kind of wants to groom him to become, I don't know, her apprentice, for lack of a better term. So I do like that. I think the fight scene itself was pretty good. And I did like how there is more of the Penguin in the background, kind of manipulating things in Gotham, making the Penguin become one of the more threatening Batman villains, or at least one of the more powerful ones. Bad, I felt as though the issue kind of ended on a meh note. Lady Shiva kind of jumps in there for an issue or two, does what she does, and leaves. She makes an impact, but I feel as though the impact will be forgotten in a couple issues, especially seeing that we're going into the Joker. Whether or not you should get it, well, I did enjoy this issue, and I'm going to give it I'll give it a 3 out of 5. I do feel as though Kyle Higgins really kind of, not Kyle Higgins, Tom DeFalco kind of not dropped the ball, but could have done more with Lady Shiva. This should have been a 4-issue story arc rather than a 2-issue story arc. I would have waited a bit before we would have jumped into this. Besides that, like I said, it's a 3 out of 5. It's a good issue. It's something worth picking up. If you're a Nightwing fan, you're going to enjoy it. Next is Red Hood and the Outlaws, issue number 14, guest starring Superman. So, Red Hood and his band of married gentlemen and lady are returned to Earth, but of course Superman is waiting on the outside for them. They think Superman is there to apprehend them because, well, they are outlaws. Although, I don't see how Starfire is an outlaw on Earth, although she did perform some criminal activities with Red Hood, so I guess she can count as one. But they all have outstanding warrants on them. So they all think Superman's there to get them. Of course, Superman's there for a different reason, but the outlaws don't play nice. No, they need to let Superman know that they are not coming, and they're definitely not coming quietly. So it's Superman versus the outlaws. Who will win? I'll give you a hint. Anyways, onto the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. Good. I thought the reactions and actions of the characters in this were really good. I think how Red Hood views Superman was very nicely done in that he's scared of Superman. It's one of the few things he's scared of because it's Superman, an unstoppable godlike being. What can you do to stop him? And I think he has a very logical and understandable reaction to what Superman is. In addition to that, I think the fight between Superman and them were really nicely done. I particularly like how they throw everything at Superman. He kind of just stands there. There's one scene where Starfire teleports them back down to Earth, and she uses a cloaking device to prevent Superman from seeing that they're getting teleported. And Red Hood, when being teleported, Red Hood already has his guns out, and Starfire's like, "Why are you doing that? We cloaked ourselves." He said, "It's because it's Superman." She's like, "But we cloaked ourselves," and then Superman's right in front of them because it's Superman. I think they did a very good job fan servicing and writing a nice little love letters to both Superman and also the Outlaws, because I think everyone was handled very nicely in this. Bad. I mean, there's no real bad about it. It just didn't blow my mind. I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5, or you know what? I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5. It was a fun issue, and it was a nice little crossover. Again, nothing to blow my mind away. I think the only thing I didn't like is I didn't care for the art. The art was weird. Not weird, but it just wasn't for this comic. I miss Kenneth Rockeford on the art, but hey, what can you do? On a whole, I will give this a 4.5 out of 5. On to Batwoman, issue number 14. So, Batwoman and Wonder Woman basically need to work together to take down Medusa, and they find out that Medusa has gone to the blackest heart in all the world, and that is Gotham. So surprisingly well in Gotham, other Gotham Knights like Nightwing and Mr. Freeze, random, are trying to take on Medusa, but Medusa's just not having any of it. She's unleashing her horrors. Will this world's finest be able to take out Medusa, or will the mythological demon be too much for this dynamic duo? Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. I think in particular this the standout character is Batwoman. Although Wonder Woman's my second favorite character, I think Wonder Woman's been portrayed okay here, but it's really Batwoman and her reaction and action to what's going on in the story is what makes her such a good character, makes this such a fun story and a nice little crossover. I particularly like how they have to react when Wonder Woman does something questionable. Not really questionable by Wonder Woman standards, but maybe by Batwoman standards. And it's more or less an act of mercy, but you're gonna have to read it to understand it. So I think I really do like how Batwoman's being portrayed in the story. Maybe a little bit more than how she's been portrayed in the previous different stories. Bad. I'm just not invested in the mythological aspect of this. Mythological characters belong in Wonder Woman. I know she's crossing over, and it makes it a little bit easier the fact that she's crossing over here. But I don't know. It's almost like Batwoman's world is starting to become very audacious and out there, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just an odd thing. Whether or not you should get it, good issue. I enjoyed it. 3 out of 5. On to Birds of Prey, issue number 14. So basically, it is the Birds of Prey versus Condor. Although they also have to work with Condor in this because, well, there is this cult assassin group called the Dagger, I think. I forget what they're called. I can tell you right now what they're called. Maybe, maybe. The Daggers. Creative name. So basically, Katana wants to get her sword back, and they want to take out Condor before he causes trouble. Although they find out quickly that the Daggers may be a little too much for them to handle. Will the Birds of Prey come out of this unscathed, or will they lose one of their members? Just gonna have to read and see. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. I think the thing about Birds of Prey as a comic that I've really enjoyed is it's been a very consistent, fun comic. I think there's a nice group dynamic here. Even with Katana, who feels a little out of place at first, really does come into her own and grows on you as a member of this group. Let me make this clear. Katana is, um, I don't know, she's one of the characters that I have a special bond with. Sounds silly, but probably because it's her Metamorpho and Black Lightning I have a special bond with because I like the Outsiders so much. And they were kind of like the Outsiders. I mean, Geoforce and Halo were founding members too, but they were the Outsiders. So um, I really like Katana. I like how DC's putting a lot of focus on her because she's going to be getting her own comic. Whether or not that's good or bad, we're just going to have to see. And in addition to that, she's going to be a JLA member. So we'll see how that goes. I do like that focus. I like the group dynamic here, and I think the story was well paced with some good fight scenes. Bad, I can't help but feel that we're looking at the final days of Katana on the Birds of Prey. I don't know if she's going to be doing double duty, if she's going to be on the Birds of Prey, or if she's on the JLA, or just on the JLA. I hope she does both because I do like her on this. But you get that feeling from this issue. In addition to that, we get something going on with Black Canary. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but yeah, something's up with her powers, and I want to know what it is. Again, not a bad thing. I'm just pointing it out. Besides that, this was a really good issue. Very solid. I did enjoy it. 4 out of 5. On to Death of the Family crossover, Catwoman issue number 14. So basically, Joker shows up, but instead of trying to kill Catwoman like everyone else in the Batman family, he more or less wants to, well, make Catwoman a villain again. He wants to make Catwoman the Black Queen for Batman. Using some chess terms there. Because, see, the thing is Batman is stronger when he has opponents, when he doesn't have to rely on people, and Catwoman's someone that Batman has affection towards. But if she is, once again, the Black Queen for Batman, she can make him stronger, or at least by Joker's methodology, psychology. Will Catwoman decide to go to the side of the bad? Will she decide to cut ties with Batman? Has Joker actually convinced Catwoman to go her separate ways? Just gonna have to read and see. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. Some of the banter between Joker and Catwoman towards the end is particularly fun. I do think they have an interesting dynamic with each other because Catwoman, I think, is scared of Joker, but she won't let Joker see it. And at the same time, Joker shows kind of a sign of camaraderie with Catwoman. Because, see, Catwoman is by and by a neutral character. She's neither good nor evil. She's slightly more good, but she does bad things. She's kind of chaotic neutral. No, chaotic good, if anything, if we're using D&T terms. But he views her as like a colleague, as a fellow scholar, a fellow employee. He thinks of her as a villain also. So I find that interesting kind of psychology going on with the Joker there. The art itself was pretty good, and I do think that it had a decent ending because Catwoman's not going to be on the Death of the Family story for too long, so it's probably good that they only did an issue or two with it. Bad, the dialogue in the beginning was a little sloppy, just a little sloppy. And at one point, Catwoman puts on a costume given to her by the Joker, which I think was a absolute stupid move by the Catwoman, and you'll see why later. But she decides to do so. Whether or not you should get it, this is actually a better issue for Catwoman than we've had recently. Nico, is that how you pronounce her name? Nico T. If I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I'm sorry. I don't think she's quite gotten her grasp on Catwoman yet, but it's getting better. So that is good. As long as we're making progressions upward, that's what matters. So it is getting slightly better. I will give this a 3.5 out of 5. Yeah, 3.5 out of 5. On to Marvel Now's Captain America issue number 1. So, you probably guys, again, I'm going to tell you why I am reading Captain America, and it is because I love Captain America. Captain America is probably pound for pound my favorite Marvel character. Pound for pound. Hold on one sec, I just want to check something. Anyways, the thing I like about Captain America is, and again, DC and Marvel has kind of like a different philosophy when it comes down to the characters, along with how they tell its stories. When it comes down to the characters, and neither is right nor wrong, Marvel tends to make characters a little bit more relatable, where DC make characters you look up to. Neither is right nor wrong. What I like about Captain America is he's kind of like a DC character. He's a character that you look up to, and how can you not? He's the embodiment of America and everything good that can come from America. You know, he's standing there with the eagle. He's always fighting for good. Stick in there till Friday. Hang in there, kids. You're doing good. You know, kind of rah rah, the stiff upper chin speech kind of stuff. But that's what I like about him. Um, so, I mean, I was going to get Captain America because I'm just a Captain America fan. So, what happens in this? So, Captain America basically is fighting I think what's his name? It's some kind of skull dude. His name is, and it should have stuck in my head a little bit more, the Green Skull. Because it's such a basic name. So he's fighting the Green Skull, and then he is going on some SHIELD missions, only to be transported to Dimension Z, maybe? I'm still learning all these Marvel different things. It's not like DC where I can just pull this shit out of my ass and say, oh, yeah, I know what's happening. He goes to this other dimension, and while there, he has to take on other dimension-like beings. Can Captain America make it out alive, or being out of America, does he have the disadvantage? That makes sense. You're just gonna have to wait and see. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. I like how Captain America is portrayed here, particularly with his romances and how he views marriage and how he views his duty. And I like the fact that we're taking Captain America and taking him out of his normal situations and putting him into something that he probably wouldn't normally be in, going to an alternate dimension and fighting evil there and kind of being stranded there. So I do like that. Um, I thought the art was good. I enjoyed the art. I thought the fight scenes were really good. And I thought it was a well-paced story. So I did enjoy that. Bad? I can't really say there was any bad about this. It didn't really do anything to blow me away, but I did really enjoy it. So I'm going to give this actually a 5 out of 5. Captain America impressed me this week. I enjoyed it. On to Blue Beetle issue number 14. So Blue Beetle is slowly coming to the end, and Blue Beetle is on Reach World, where he needs to basically work with one of the rogue Blue Beetles, or one of the rogue Scarabs, to destroy basically their equivalent to Mogo. If you know anything about Green Lantern, Mogo is the planet in which distributes all the Green Lantern rings. Reach has something like that, a planet that distributes all the Scarabs. Will Jaime be successful in destroying this planet and stopping the Scarab or the Reaches from growing, or will he be betrayed by his comrade? Just gonna have to wait and see. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. The pacing of the story was good. I thought the dialogue, particularly with the situation that Jaime is being put in, is fun. I like how Jaime has all these different battle modes now. He has like the strength mode or the speed mode and the striker mode and all these different modes being brought on. And I thought on a whole it was a well-balanced issue. You got action, you got dialogue, you got character growth in a way. I thought it was a well-balanced issue. Bad? Uh, None. Actually, I'm really sad that Blue Beetle is coming to an end because this was a fun issue. It felt kind of Green Lantern-ish in a way, but it was a fun issue, and I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Yeah, 4 out of 5. It was fun. Blue Beetle. It is a pity it's ending, but it happens. On to Sword of Sorcery featuring Amethyst, issue number 2. Which it really is issue 3, but whatever. So, Amethyst is basically, she's learning about the world she's in. She's learning about the different kingdoms based off different gems. And in addition to that, her mother has to transfer the power of the House of Amethyst to her. However, that power is shared by her mother and by her aunt, and her aunt is clearly a bad person right now. So Amethyst needs to have that power transferred to her, but it could be coming at a cost, and that cost could be her mother. And more importantly, it could be of Amethyst's own sanity, because she could possibly turn evil because of it. Can Amethyst be able to control this new power and live in a world where the rules are completely different, or will she just be overtaken by this change, this new atmosphere? Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good, a lot of world building in here, and it was good world building, particularly with the houses and how the magic works, and just learning the world. That's the thing. You gotta understand. One thing comics do a lot is they go to different dimensions or different planets, and everyone has kind of the same culture. This has a different culture to it, which is good. You know, they have different terminologies and different slangs. And if you don't mind, I'm gonna just put my sweatshirt on. It's kind of cold, and I like that Amethyst is saying, "Oh, they're offering her food," and she says, "Oh, that's cool." And they're like, "Cool. Do you want us to heat it up for you?" And she says, "No, never mind. It's good. I like it." So I do like the fact that there is this exploration, this growth that she has to do in this world. Uh, how the magic is being transferred to her, I thought was interestingly done, and we got to see some other characters in here from other houses, and this is turning out to be a comic not just about Amy, but also about the other houses and how they work. So I like that. Bad, no action at all. And with the fast paced issues we had in issue 1 and issue 2, as much as the world building was good, it would have been nice to have a little bit more action in this. But besides that, it was a solid issue. Amethyst is continuing to impress me. 4.5 out of 5. Supergirl, issue number 14, continuing the hell on Earth. So Supergirl and Superman are with that Dr. Valeris? Is it Valeris or Veritas? And they're dissecting that giant dragon, Kryptonian dinosaur, whatever it's supposed to be. And while this is going on, uh, Kara doesn't know who to trust. I mean, she's kind of hanging with Clark, but she doesn't know she can trust Cal. She goes back to Silver Banshee, Shinobi, and she's kind of talking to her, but something's going on with her. And then eventually she comes into contact with this Hell, who has Connor, has Connell, and basically is saying, you know from the history books that this guy right here is a clone, and you know what happens to clones after a while, Kryptonian clones. Just say the word, and I will kill him. And you have to understand, it's like the history that she's lived through in knowing what clones do. She is at a she's trying hard to find that decision that needs to be made. Does she say, yeah, go ahead, kill him? Or does she say no? Or does she say something else? You're just going to have to read and see. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. Um, I like that we have a stable supporting cast for Supergirl, which I think is important in a comic like this. You need to have that stable supporting cast. I think the dialogue between Hell and Supergirl was really fun, particularly when they're talking about the clones and the decision that he gives her to make. I think was handled very well. The art was very good. I think the ending, the cliffhanger, there was a cliffhanger in this. Really, I'm like, oh shit, how is she gonna get out of this one? Or more or less, how does Superman get out of this one? I thought was pretty good. Um, Bad, none. I really did like this Supergirl issue. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. Some people may say that'd be generous, but Supergirl has been the best of the Superman's comics, pound for pound. I mean, Action Comics may have had like a some really good issues, but it also had some really not good issues. Supergirl has been very consistent and very good in being consistent. So 5 out of 5, Supergirl. Green Lantern New Guardians, Rise of the Third Armies. Why am I even saying Rise of the Third Army? Because Rise of the Third Army never really shows up. The Third Army doesn't really do much here. I'm not going to talk too much about this issue because it's really just Kyle mastering the power of fear. and becoming a Yellow Lantern. And they're called Yellow Lanterns now. So not Sinestro Corps, but Yellow Lanterns. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Dialogue was good. I like the interactions between Carol, Kyle, Acrylo, and I also like how the Guardians are kind of working with a certain group of individuals, and there's more conspiracies going on. It has pretty good balance in it. Everyone feels as though they're in character. Bad is, well, it's not necessarily bad. I find him learning and mastering these different kind of powers, um, uninteresting. I feel as though it would be more interesting if Kyle found out how to tap into these powers of fear and rage and compassion and everything. If it was spur of the moment, like if he was in combat with the Third Army and suddenly the power of rage comes out of him, if it came to him more naturally rather than it being forced out. It's kind of like trying to force a Pikachu to evolve too early. You're not gonna, get the more powerful moves later on if you evolve him too early. You're only gonna be stuck. You're gonna have to use your TMs. Although to be fair, who uses Pikachu? I mean, yeah, he's good for Volt Tackle, and that's about it. Yeah, I mean, I don't really use Pikachu, so I don't really know. I'm more of a Zapdos and Jolteon man. So yeah. Um, what was I talking about? I just made a Pokemon reference, and my mind went. Oh yeah, it just would be more natural if they came out in the spur of the moment, like if he, for love, like if someone he cared about died, and love came out. It's something like that. It's not bad, but it's just I feel as though we're going to be doing this until we get to every single power. Now the question is he going to have to master life and death with the white and black lantern rings? I don't think so because those rings didn't show up, did they? No. On a whole, 3 out of 5. That's basically what it is. I'm just a little disappointed we didn't do more with the Third Army. Um, DC Universe presents Black Lantern and not Black Lantern, Black Lightning and Blue Devil, and now DC Universe presents has been brought down to a $2.99 book. We really see that there was a relationship between Blue Devil and Black Lightning beforehand. They were actually in high school with each other, and we find as though there's some secrets that Blue Devil's grandfather was keeping from him, the magical stuff that was kept from him. I'll try not to be vague. I'm just going to say it right out. Apparently, apparently, Blue Devil's whole entire film stuff going on with all the magical items was all a way to protect the world from these magical items. Basically, his grandfather would make these films with these magical items in order to mock them and devalue the magical items. I guess it's under the same concept of the sometimes how gods are viewed is that the more worshippers the gods have, the more powerful they are. If these things are kind of made into jokes, like the idol from Indiana Jones or like the sword Excalibur, if they're kind of more viewed as pop culture stuff, then they lose their value in the magical world, and that's why they do the movies. Which is silly, but then Blue Devil looks at Black Lightning after Black Lightning says that and says, "You kidding me? We have Superman flying around, the Justice League Dark creating magic over there, Wonder Woman fighting Zeus, and this is what you call silly?" So it was kind of funny how that worked out. Basically, they have to take on the crime lord, the Whale, and yeah, you know what? I like Blue Devil, and I really do like Black Lightning. 2 out of 5. It's not interesting. On to the last 2 issues this week. Wonder Woman issue number 14. So, 2 things are happening here. The gods are kind of conspiring with each other, trying to figure out what they should do with their newfound power and how things should be handled. While Wonder Woman has to take on this little beast right here, the Sand Child. I don't know her name. I forget it. And basically, this is another daughter of Zeus, and Wonder Woman has to fight her. How Wonder Woman resolves this is very Wonder Woman. How, though? You're just going to have to read and see. We also have a mysterious figure show up who we know nothing about. This is what I have to say. This individual is a child of Zeus. He's massive. He's naked too. Uh, Beard and long hair. I almost want to say that this could be Heracles or Hercules, depending on how you pronounce it, but I don't know. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. This is kind of broken up into three stories. The god stuff is really fun, and I love to see the gods interact with each other. And I love the suspense and build up with this mysterious son of Zeus. The Wonder Woman stuff is good, and I liked how it was resolved. So I thought there was a good balance with the story. Bad. I'm not saying this is bad, but this is a very transition issue. We get set up at the end with Orion, which I'm really looking forward to next issue. But this is just setup issue. That's really what it is. It's just setting up for the next story. So on that, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. But the Orion stuff, I'm really looking forward to. And finally, the last issue this week would be Justice League issue number 14. So Superman has been transferred into Super Cheetah, and the Justice League have to take him on. And we find the startling reveal in history of who the Cheetah is, where she's from, what she's done, as long as she loves me. You guys don't remember that song? I think it's Backstreet Boys. Anyways, wow, that was bad. We got to find out the mysterious past of the Cheetah, which really is actually pretty good, and it can. Spoiler, slightly, it consolidates all the various different Cheetahs' history together, so it's good. And we also get to see Cheetahs working with someone else. And we also see how people are reacting to the Superman Wonder Woman relationship. We also have Shazam in here, and Black Adam is just awesome. And I'm really looking forward to when Black Adam and Shazam finally come to head with each other. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. Although I don't condone the relationship of Superman and Wonder Woman, I have to say it's being handled very well. People's reactions from the everyday folks to how Batman reacts to it, which is great at the end of it, I think is handled very nicely. I think Superman and Wonder Woman interacting with each other is very natural to what it should be. So, although I don't want them to be get together, it's actually handled very well. So I'll give credit there. I think the fight with Cheetah was very good, making her a very intimidating and powerful foe. And I also like the setup that's going to be done later on with the Cheetah that could go into Trinity War or it could go into the Throne of Atlantis. And in particular, I like the Cheetah's backstory in this very much. I think Flash and Cyborg got showcased a little bit more in this, which was good because I don't think as though they've been showcased enough. I felt as though it's been very much the Trinity and Green Lantern. But Aquaman, Flash, and Cyborg are kind of getting their time in light, which is good. Especially Cyborg, which I really want them to utilize more. Bad, none. This is a 5 out of 5 comic, and especially as a 5 out of 5 with the Shazam backup, dealing with Black Adam and dealing with Shazam and what's going on with them. 5 out of 5. Justice League was just really good this week, and I really did enjoy it. So that is this week in comics. Quite a hefty week. Yeah, it actually is quite a hefty week. But it was a fun week, and I enjoyed it. So we will see what my Andrew kind of picks of the week is tomorrow, because I'm going to do the video tomorrow, okay? So I'm going to end the review here. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.